Hockey Town, it's a place where dreams are found. We fought so many battles here, now we're the ones that they will fear. The cup resides within our town, we won't stop no letting down. The cup is ours for all to drink, it's our time, let's rock this ring.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Hockey Town Rundown. You are here with us, your beautiful hosts, once again, Carlo and Zack. Carlo, we're closer to Christmas. What's going on, buddy? You feeling the holiday spirit?
I am, man. I am so pumped to get into Christmas. It's going to be a good time. It's going to be a ton of food, a ton of good times with family and stuff, friends and whatnot. And yeah, I love this time of year to get together with people and just hang out, celebrate, and conclude the year. But what about you? Are you a big Christmas guy? You like this time of year too?
Oh, dude. Yeah, I would say I'm definitely a Christmas junkie.
Yeah.
I've always been a snow guy, especially having dogs. My dogs have always enjoyed the snow, so It makes me enjoy the snow. Unfortunately, here where I live, we hardly get any. I know all my friends and family back in Michigan did get a decent amount of snow, so I'm jealous of them. They're jealous of me. However you want to take away from that. But spend a lot of time with the family, going up to Michigan, visit them. Got two different sets of families I got to go visit on my dad and my mom's side. So it's going to be a lot of fun bringing the dogs with me. And yeah, hopefully everyone stays safe, stays warm, and gets all the gifts that they asked Santa this year. Hopefully y'all made the nice list, not the naughty list. And Carlo, I think it's safe to say maybe the Red Wings are on the naughty list, maybe based on our thumbnail, our title down below, the rundown, Dead Wings 2.0. Are the Red Wings frustrated with themselves? Are they beating themselves up? So yeah, let's just kind of go ahead and go in depth about everything. But before we do that, we want to stop and say thank you for taking the time to view this episode or listen to it, however you catch us on your streaming devices. We are on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. If you are viewing us on YouTube, if you haven't already, why don't you go ahead and just hit that subscribe button. It's right there, Carlo, right?
You know
all about that. Hit the thumbs up button. All that stuff really does help us out. Did you know?
I was just going to say, I heard something. Did you? But it's free to do that, right?
FREE. Free. Yes, sir. You got it right. And then if you like us, follow us, and then rate us the 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that also is free. You could do that at any point in time. We really do appreciate it. That helps us out tremendously along our journey of providing you good content as we try to do every episode. And yeah, Carlo, let's go in depth about everything as it shows up on the scoreboard. Wow, I'm getting it down, pointing the direct way that the scoreboard is because everything's flipped. But yeah, as you can see by the scoreboard up there, the Red Wings team did beat the Philadelphia Flyers 6-4. They lost to the Montreal Canadiens back-to-back 4-3, and then unfortunately 5-1 last night. But yeah, let's go in depth about the Flyers game. You did have Alex Lyon in net. The Flyers did take the lead within the first minute of the game, but then you have JT Comfrey coming in to tie the game 1-1 on the power play. You go into the second period, Edvinsson actually gets caught with a high hit and then ends up going out with an upper body injury. Do you want to touch on that real quick, Carlo, on the devastation part of Edvinsson being out or the hit in general? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the Edvinsson conversation that I was going to have really bleeds into the Montreal games a little bit. I'm not going to go too far into it, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, obviously, Edvinsson going down sucks because Edvinsson and Mo are the number one line defensively for this team. And that's very clearly outlined in many different stats, whether you're watching the game, whether you're watching the stats. Stats are a part of the game. So, I mean, you can really get the story either way. Obviously, the eye test is going to be the best test. But, yeah, that sucked for sure. It was brutal with the way he went down. That hit that he took was – I don't know if anybody really started talking about that yet, but that was pretty gross. Like, I don't think anything really came of it, but it was – like, I hope he doesn't have a broken jaw because it looked pretty ugly.
Did that hit him in the face? It did look like it did, but the camera, the way it was, I was trying to stop it, pause it. It went fast.
Yeah, the camera panned really quick. So I'm just, again, it's an eye test. I don't have too much video evidence to go and say, for sure that it was an elbow to the jaw. The way he went down and the way he was kind of holding his face as he went down. I don't know if that was just a natural reaction to a human being falling. Could very well be. The guy's 7 feet tall, so maybe that's just the way 7-footers fall. But regardless, it looked ugly. Again, I don't have different angles of it, but the point I want to make is that we lose this game we win this game against Philly, and I'm thinking, okay, so Edmonton's gone. We finished the game, but we're going up against Montreal. So I'm thinking, okay, the guys are going to be able to pull this one off, or at the very least split.
Carlo's jumping ahead, but we'll go in depth about that
That's
stuff.
why I'm stopping. We'll get there, but that's where I'm stopping.
Yeah, you got Alex DeBrincat scoring on his birthday, so happy birthday to him. Congratulations to him.
Claps to the DB. Happy birthday, buddy.
Takes the lead 2-1. Michael Rasmussen off the faceoff takes back the lead 3-2, and then Joe Veleno makes it 4-2 with a 2-0 breakaway with Fisher shortly after the Rasmussen goal. Yeah, no, that was good on them for actually executing that. Carlo, thinking back and looking back on it, can you even remember the Red Wings the last time that they actually executed a 2-0 like that?
No,
because majority of the time I feel like that they always end up whiffing on it.
They do, and it really depends who's on the 2-on-1. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw Fisher and Veleno going down, I was like, okay. I was like, this isn't going to end well. You got Stone Hands number 1 and Stone Hands number 2, and they finished, they executed, and boy was it nice. So you got to give them credit there because that was a really nice play, and kudos to them for capitalizing and finishing that play. That was awesome. That was good to see.
Yeah, depth coming alive this game. Going into the third, the only time this season the Red Wings scored 3 goals in one period, went on to win against the New York Islanders 4-2 on 11/25/24. They just scored 3 goals on the Philadelphia Flyers in the second period and lead 4-2. But then you also get Patrick Kane taking back the lead, making it 5-4 because the Red Wings did end up allowing the Flyers to tie it in the third. And then Lucas Raymond getting the empty netter to win it 6-4. So the Red Wings are undefeated. They're 2-0 when they score 3 goals in one period, Carlo. Think maybe they should do that more often or what?
I do think they should do that more often. And guess what you need to do that? Shoot the puck.
Things they don't do.
Correct.
Often. I'm not. Right? So, yeah, no, overall, I thought this was a really good game by the Red Wings. Overall, it was kind of a chaotic game, but it was definitely better than the first time we played against the Philadelphia Flyers, right, where we just got completely shelled out, right? So the Red Wings, good on them for getting the 2 points, and 2 points matter. Even going into the Habs games, which Carlo already touched on, let's talk about the one that happened on Friday. You had Talbot and net. The Red Wings actually recalled William Lagesson because of Edvinson's injury. And Carlo was right. You would think that the Red Wings might be able to squeak out a win between Friday and Saturday, and they weren't for both, obviously, as it shows above, and we talked about it. But in the first game, you had Kane tying the game 1-1, tying Pavelski for 5th most goals amongst U.S.-born skaters. So congratulations to him.
And just real quick, that goal, like just to talk about that goal, that was disgusting.
Nasty.
The way he scored that goal on that angle, just a really good old classic Patrick Kane in close type of goal. That was awesome. So I just wanted to say that because that was really, really nice. We're not fortunate to see gorgeous goals this year. So when I see them, I just really get excited. And that was really nice. Please continue, Zach. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to call that out.
No, that's a good call out. You're good. And we thought that Petrie scored to tie it again 2-2 in the second, but Veleno is credited the deflected goal, and Joe Veleno getting up on the score sheet. So congratulations to him once again for putting up another goal. And then Tyler Mott set up beautifully by Rasmussen to take the lead in the third 3-2. But then you had the Habs coming back and winning it 4-3. So it was just a complete heartbreaker. Carlo, you can tell the Red Wings definitely miss Simon Edvinsson and how much he actually means to this team already just in his first, we can say it, his full season, right? I mean, it's not full season yet, but yeah, this team really depends on that young 22-year-old defenseman back there on the left-handed side to be that prime defender that they need. And unfortunately for the Red Wings, outside of him and Seider, they have no one else.
No.
And I feel bad for people like Albert Johansson.
Oh, man. Do you seriously, though? Like, You're putting this guy with Gustafsson and you're expecting him to do things. It's like, you're nuts.
Yeah, then obviously because of it being a back-to-back, you had to put Lyon in net. Lagesson actually is in this game. You actually liked it. You did say that. I was like, okay, yeah, let's see what he can do. I was a little skeptical about it, but it is what it is. You had Joe Veleno making it 1-0 to start the game hot, which was super nice. I thought maybe they looked good at the start. I thought maybe they had it at first, Carlos. So that's 3 goals in 3 games for Veleno. And then before you know it, the Wings are down 5-1 going into the third. And I just wanted to quote Ryan Hanna on Twitter. That Ken Daniels said Tarasenko dropped it and no one in particular, and that was said by Ken Daniels during the play, and how it is a pretty good microcosm of the Red Wings season so far. Would you agree to that?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's been countless times that I've seen the puck go to, whether it's somebody breaking into the O-zone and they're passing it back to their defender who's not there, and the puck goes all the way down to sometimes right back into the Red Wing zone, depending on how, I guess depending not how, but who's coming on the ice. The how would be how slow they are, and that depends on who's coming on. But yeah, it's a really, really sad state that we're in right now, man. And I think you're seeing it. You're seeing it from the broadcasting groups now. I mean, shoot, I was watching Hockey Night in Canada's feed last night, and mind you, I turned the game off. I didn't watch the third period. And up until the point that I turned it off, I heard Hockey Night in Canada broadcast crew call this team soft. That's what made me turn it off. I think I heard it 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. What does that tell you, man? What does that tell you?
Well, especially since that this is a team, the Montreal Canadiens, before both of these games, they were behind you in the standings. Now they're ahead of you. And, you know, I guess it even goes back to Simon Edvinsson. Did the missing Simon Edvinsson create these games the way that they happened, Carlo? In your opinion?
I think yes, because now you're not slotting guys properly, right? Ben Sherrod is not a number 1 D-man, right? Lagesson was on the second pairing with Petrie. Petrie's not even a second line pairing. This is Lagesson's first game, so I really can't tell you if he's a third pairing or a second pairing guy. But the reason I was excited, to back up a little bit, the reason I was excited, and when I sent out that text that he was in, it's because there was finally some change. Yeah. Whether it be good or bad, I don't know. But there was change, and I was like, oh my God, there's a new D-man. Woo! Let's see what we can do. And we couldn't do anything because, again, you have Sherrod on the first pairing, Lagesson and Petrie on the second pairing, and then was it Hall and Gustafsson on the third? It's just like, it's just not good enough. To your point before, too, like we don't have, outside of Mo and Ed, we don't have NHL defensemen. And to answer your question, yeah, Edvinsson 100% being out impacts us very, very much. I was hopeful, and I guess to continue on what I was saying before, I was hopeful that these guys would be able to rally up for 2 games, Friday, Saturday, bang, bang, in and out, and figure out how to play defense. The problem we have as a team is that when the puck is in our zone, everyone forgets how to play man coverage, forwards included. It's a zoo. It's a zoo. Everyone's going everywhere. It's unbelievable. And to continue to do this at this point in the season, it's safe to say we're a third of the way there. To continue to see this is why I sent out Dead Wings. There's nothing alive about this team right now. Watch the post games. Watch Larkin talk. Watch any player talk. There is 0 signs of life. Somebody posted, I think it was the TNT crew, somebody posted the locker room footage of the team. I think it was Husso that was calling out the lineup, the opening, the lineup for that game. It was the saddest thing I've ever seen. I'm not even being dramatic.
No, you looked at, I think it was Marco Kasper. If this is the video you're talking about, you see them, obviously, when they call out a player's name, they do like their own little chant, or they do like a hand thing with their knees, whatever. And you see Marco Kasper is pretty much the only one doing it. And
he's the kid.
And he zooms in on Andrew Kopp, and Andrew Kopp's just like,
he's not even he was barely even like touching his fingers. It's like, I'm not putting too much stock into that. I'm not going to do that. But that is the saddest thing I've ever seen. Go watch the NHL Face-Off series on Amazon and go watch every other team that was covered on that series get primed up for the start of a game. Bro, those rooms are buzzing. What's going on in this room, dude? It's like, and then Casper at one point was looking around like he shouldn't be doing that. I don't know if you caught that, and I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. I probably am. But it looked like there was a point where Casper like started to not do it anymore. He's like, oh shit. He's like, I'm the only one doing this. I should stop. I'm like, what is going on?
He's like the younger brother in a group of siblings that does like the cringy stuff, and everyone's looking at him like, no, stop.
Please. And then he just awkwardly comes to a halt. Yeah, it's yeah. Just need to take a big inhale there because this is just, we're in a really, really bad time.
Well, let's talk about some other stuff, and then we'll go into the main topics and go fully in depth about everything. And if the Red Wings are self-defeated themselves, on Wednesday night, Chris Chelios, when asked about Sergei Fedorov and if it's time to retire his jersey, says the way he skated, he was stealth. He could carry the team. He was just a natural. No one worked harder than him. Shocking it's not there yet. He deserves it. Do you agree?
Yes. Yeah, easily yes. Come on.
I agree.
Like, the whole story, like, from whatever year it was, like, I get it. Like, it was Mike Ilitch's biggest competitor. You know what I mean? And at that point, it's like, you can't resent the player for signing a deal and doing well for himself to get some money. Like, and for some reason they're taking it personally, and that's silly to me. Like, look what he did for the organization. You know, like, you can't fault a guy for signing a better deal. Like, why would you can't fault that. You can't. It's especially him. Like, look at what he's done. Like,
yeah, and the reason for this is because they actually did retire Sergei Fedorov's jersey for there in Russia. So yeah, other than that, per Friedman, Buffalo was in Detroit scouting the night of the Flyers game. Carlo, touch on that real quick if you think that there might actually be something there or not.
How do we know they were scouting Detroit and not Philly? Like, again, I come back to my question of who on Detroit are you scouting? My follow-up question is, why are you scouting them? Like, what do you see that we haven't seen yet? If they were scouting Detroit. Listen, if there's a move to be made and we're able to offload somebody that carries not a great contract that we don't like, I'm all for it. But let's be realistic here too with ourselves. I'm not expecting anything to come about there. You know, I've been seeing Dylan Cousins' names fly around. Yeah, I would love to have Dylan Cousins. I don't see a possibility of how we can make that happen without giving up somebody that we don't want to give up. So I would look at, was Buffalo there scouting somebody on Philly?
It could have been both, honestly. Anything is possible, but the rumor was that it was slightly confirmed, I guess. I don't know, fully confirmed, if that's how you want to take away from it, but that they were indeed there to look at Red Wings players. It could have been for someone like Marco Kasper, too. I mean, that probably would be a player that you would include in a trade going back to Buffalo, I guess, if you wanted to take on one of their Bowen Byrooms or their Dylan Cousins, like you just mentioned. So that probably would be one of the main players that you put on there, because I can't imagine that the Buffalo Sabres are going to make a trade and say, yeah, we'll take players that aren't ready to play in the NHL. I'm assuming they would be making trade for players that are ready to play in the NHL, and one of them being Marco Kasper.
Marco Kasper is probably the only desirable player for any other team scouting.
I had my buddy Jeff over last night. He finally got to watch the game because he works the night shift, so he doesn't get to catch them too many. He's like, yeah, this team they're bad. All right, Carlo, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. Dead Wings 2.0. Are the Red Wings self-defeated? Short answer, yeah, personally to me. Short answer for you. I'm assuming it's yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after last night, it was like affirmed yes, 100% yes.
Yeah, and let's just talk about the monthly stats real quick. They're 3-5-2 in December for 29 goals for and 36 goals against, 8 points out of 20 points earned so far this month. They're 7th in the Atlantic currently, 9th in the wild card race, and 27th overall in the league standings. Now that the Montreal Canadiens beat them twice, they were able to jump them in the standings. 5-on-5 offense has come alive a bit, but at the cost of losing your power play. 10% power play in December, 3 for 29 chances. Carlo, there's some other stats you probably have that you want to pull out, but go into depth about your issue and why this was. I'm really not trying to throw you under the bus by saying this. The Dead Wings 2.0 thing was your idea.
Yeah.
I kind of want you to take ownership of that and explain why you believe that now is a good time to actually call out the team on a harshly basis of saying that this is as bad as they've looked since the 1920 season and even going back to when they were known as the Dead Wings.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I keep going back to listen. We're all going to remember. We're not too far removed from the 2019-2020 season. Brutal season. And I think you actually topped me up with some stats that out of their first 33 games in 2019, 2020, they won 8 of those games.
8 games.
Okay. So put that in your pocket and go take a look at that roster. And then take it out of your pocket and fire up this roster for 24-25. Look at the names. Look at the players. We have 13 wins in 33 games this year. When I saw the way we played against Montreal, and then I started looking into stats. Now, everybody who's haters on stats, I hate to break it to you, but stats are a part of the game. Whether you want to look at them or not, I test this, I test that. Stats are very much a part of the game. Otherwise, they would not be there. When I see we have 13 wins in 33 games, when I see we have 3 power play goals on 29 opportunities in December, our 5-on-5 is not good. Like, it's okay. I guess it's coming alive because you can really only go up when you're at rock bottom.
Right. Correct.
Dude, it's bad. And yeah, this is the Dead Wings 2.0 era. And I will say that to anybody.
Yeah, one stat that we missed is that they're 31st in PK, which is no shock to anyone. They've been there.
No, I mean, I thought that was well known.
Yeah.
But no, man, like this is it. Like this is rock bottom. And you know, rock bottom for me is Dead Wings. And we are 100% at that level right now. Because again, you can only go up from here, right? That's the positive in this, but the reality is a very brutal reality in the fact that this is the Dead Wings era right now, dude. I don't know what else can get worse. I don't know what else. I keep seeing online sell who? Who are we selling? No, like we're so undesirable. It's brutal. It's brutal. We cannot efficiently play the game of hockey at the NHL level. And then again, you look at this roster and you're like, this doesn't really make sense. Defensively, I get it. Okay. These guys they've had their time. They've had their day. They're very far removed from having their day and being relevant again. But this offensive group, Larkin hasn't scored since November 27th. Are you injured? What's going on? Are you like, we're losing. So if you're injured, just go and get better. Like, just take some time and get better. Like, this is the time to do it. It's nice to see Kaner starting to come up again and start to score some goals for sure. But his giveaways are still terrible.
Oh,
the team giveaway. I think we gave the puck away 22 times against Montreal last night. The game we lost 5-1. There's just no signs of things being fixed.
No, not at all. And that goes back, and I'm glad that you actually brought that up because I want to go back to the point that I keep on making. I don't know how many times I've said it, but I'm going to say it once again. Steve Yzerman, to me, this is my personal opinion, went into this. First, I'm going to say, how can you go into this season? Like, I'm not angry, but my voice is getting elevated, as you guys can hear. But how can you go into this season with essentially a rookie Simon Edvinsson and a Moritz Seider, and you have everyone else that you had, and you thought that was going to help this team, or at least make them somewhat moderate in the equal middle of the league? The way it is right now, yeah, the question is, how come he hasn't done anything? And that proves my point. He knew going into the season, this team wasn't going to be good enough to make the playoffs. He didn't want to do anything to fix it. He isn't going to do anything to fix it the rest of the season. And he's letting it ride itself out. It's almost exactly the same as he did with Jeff Blashill, Carlo. There's no differences here. But I do agree with you. I think that a lot of changes need to happen, but I don't think anything's going to get fixed. And Steve Yzerman truly just wants to write it out. And I'm just going to say it. Dead Wings 2.0, and they just won a top pick in the draft. Because you look at this defense, if you can get a Matt Schaefer, that's a top 4 D man right there for you, right there that you can get and you can insert on this team within a year or two, however long it takes for him to develop. But yeah, I mean, dude, that's my thought on it. That's my own personal opinion that Steve Yzerman isn't going to do anything. He doesn't want to try and fix anything and wants it to keep going the way that it is.
Yeah, you might be right, man. And, I really wish he'd put his pride aside and at least have a media briefing, because I think the state of the team right now warrants that 100%. Not that I expect him to give it concrete answers. He's kind of the king at getting around answering questions directly. But just to see some sort of ownership, because, you talk about wanting to get a high pick. Listen, I get that. But, like, after the season you had last year, how can you go from riding such a high to just going to the lowest of lows? I feel like we're back in 2019 again, dude.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of moves made since 2019. There's been a lot of draft picks, especially in the first round, that are currently on this team.
Yeah, and you brought up soft, and the reason why I'm now starting to agree with you more, not saying that I never agreed with you on this. I knew that this was soft, but I was never vocal about it. And when it finally hit me, and I could sit here and say this team is softer than 10-ply toilet paper, is when one of the Habs players snowplowed Lyon last night. Lyon gave him a shove, and the other player got in his face about it, and none of the Red Wings did a thing.
Mm-hmm.
None of them did a thing. No fisticuffs. No nothing.
Yeah, there's no identity.
By Berggren, that was about it. I was like, that's it.
There's no identity.
That's all you're going to do.
Oh, that frustrates me so much.
I was just like, wow. That's how you know that this team certainly is self-defeated, Carlo, personally. Unless a lot of these players, now that they're just trying to play for themselves, they're definitely not playing as a unit. They're not trying to play unison as a team, right? It seems like that they're all trying to play for themselves, essentially.
You're this team, like I've said this so many times, man. And I guess I'll refer to the defensive zone when they're trying to defend. They forget how to play man coverage. That's out the window. Back to my earlier point, I said it looks like a zoo. Everyone is expecting the guy next to them to do something and take care of it, rather than doing it themselves. If they're playing for themselves, you would think. I don't even think they're playing for themselves, man. I think they're out there doing cardio, and then going to get a drink of water, do a little rest, and then go hit another cardio stim. I don't know what. It's certainly not hockey, dude. They're not playing hockey.
It's a lot of, and my buddy Jeff even caught this last night after I said it, and he was like, yeah, holy hell, you're exactly right. It's a lot of stay in your own zone, get it up into the neutral zone, dump it, even though you have a player you can pass it to at the blue line, do a line change. And they just do that continuously for about 6 times. And then finally they gain entry into the offensive zone to create somewhat of a chance, if they can even make it that far.
Yeah,
right?
That's the thing, that part happens so like, how many times do you think that happened where they successfully got into the zone per game?
So I don't know, but I can tell you what I just mentioned. That happened 4 times in a row within the first 3 minutes of the third period of last night's game.
And that's a problem. The first 3 minutes, meaning you just rested for 18 minutes. And you come out and do that? Who's that on?
I think Carlo, I don't think that there's one specific thing. I think it's everything, but overall it stems from the top, right? And it's always a trickle down effect. So not saying that it's primarily Steve Yzerman, but Steve Yzerman is the one who constructed this roster. That is his job. Then it's willing to implement, the attitude and the effort out onto the ice for these players to give us, and they're not giving it to us whatsoever. There's a huge complete contrast difference from this year to last year. And everyone keeps on saying, oh, you look at Jake Wollman, he's like whatever the stats are, he's got like 24 points right now, whatever it is.
We gave up a second to get rid of him.
That's the part that frustrates me the most too. But then you look at even Shane Gosper. He's on a reasonable contract. David Perron's actually having a decent season. I don't want to sit here and say that if we had those three players, would they be converting the same rate that they are on this team? I don't know. Give or take maybe 5 points from each of those players, let's say, right? Let's say we could take away 5 points from each of those players and insert them on the Red Wings. But I just feel like we would be in exactly the same spot as we were last year, where we're still in that like treading, where we're like, vibes are high. Well, vibes are low because we lost and we're just 1 point out of a wild card race. Oh, but vibes are still high because we are just 1 point out of a wild card race. Oh my God, we just got to the first wild card spot. I don't know, man, but you even look at it, even next year, let's say you signed all those players to 1-year deals. Well, Jake Wallman was already signed, but you know what I'm saying, right? If you signed those other 2 players to the 1-year deals, next season would have been the same thing. We'd probably be in the same situation that we are in now, because looking at it, Carlo, I really do believe next year we're going to see a youth movement. I think you get ASP up, and then you have to get another top 4 defenseman, whether that's on the left or right-handed side. If you're bringing ASP, obviously it makes more sense to do it on the left-handed side. Yeah. I think that you definitely have to start trading some of your younger prospects. I keep on eyeing someone like William Wallander. I don't think that you have space for both him and Shai Buium on this team. So one of those guys has to go. This team overall, Carlo, I guess in a nutshell, back to what I was saying, this team is very self-defeated. They obviously don't like that the direction everything is going, like you said, the media interviews, the product that you're seeing on the ice, just the way that they are in the locker room, the answers that you're getting from coaching. No responses from Steve Yzerman whatsoever. No changes, no trades, no firings, no nothing. What's got to give here? What's next?
I honestly don't know what's next, man. Like, I think Yzerman, and I'm not afraid to even say it, dude, but I think Yzerman has poorly managed this team this offseason, which I'm not going to say the last 2 years, but the last offseason, very poorly managed. The free agents he's brought in and during his tenure, we've talked about this several times, have been terrible. In fact, the ones that were positive impacting guys are no longer on the team. He let them walk. That's bad management. Do you know what's going on in the room, Steve? Like giving up a guy like David Perron, like, did you realize that he was the heart and soul of this team or no? Or were you just told something else? Who knows? But to let a guy like David Perron was the captain of this team. I know Larkin's wearing the C. Don't get me wrong here. But Perron was the captain of this team in the room, on the bench. He was the voice, man. He was the absolute engine behind getting these guys fired up. Another guy that he's still on the team this year, Christian Fischer. How many times did the camera pan to Fischer on the bench jumping like a gazelle? Excited, firing up the boys, punching the guy over here, Where's he at? Where's that Christian Fischer at? I went into this season saying I'm so pumped that he's back. He's the glue guy. I'm not seeing any glue. Where'd that go? It's like the room is in shambles, man. Like it's in shambles, and that's on the leader of the room, which is the head coach. So I'm really frustrated with Steve Yzerman, his free agent signings, and the way he's mismanaged this roster. And I'm really frustrated with Derek Lalonde for not implementing any change. This is just, it's literally the definition of insanity, what we're going through.
Well, and that's also the other thing, because you look at a team like the New York Rangers, which this was the only around the league news that we have for today, I guess, just bringing it up. The Rangers traded Kaapo Kakko, and before that they traded Jacob Trouba. They were able to make all sorts of trades. Granted, they're in a different position than we are, but I still feel like that we also could be in that same similar situation. But the New York Rangers traded Kaapo Kakko to the Seattle Kraken for Will Borgen, a 25 third-round pick, and a 25 sixth-round pick. So, yeah, Carlo, overall, that's a steal. I'm honestly surprised that Steve Yzerman didn't do that.
I'm not.
Like, why?
I'm not surprised.
That's why it just approves my take that he doesn't want to do anything. He just wants a top pick this draft and just ride the waves that it is, just like how he did with Blashill.
You know what? You might be right, man. You might be right. But if you are right, Steve needs to address the media, dude. There needs to be some sort of ownership taken for what we're seeing. You got to remember, we're the fans that are paying. What is it? $100 for like a beer, a shot, and something to eat at Little Caesars Arena?
Just about.
Okay. Like, we're the ones paying like our arm and a leg to watch this team. And after last year, I couldn't wait to buy tickets this year.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad I didn't get the ticket package that I wanted, honestly.
Dude, like, I just can't. That's why I think there needs to be some sort of ownership and some sort of accountability from the absolute tippy top, because we're paying $100 to have a decent time, not catch a buzz, just to have something to drink. $100, a beer, a shot, and something to eat. You need to catch a buzz to watch these guys play. So that's why I'm saying, like, there needs to be that conversation needs to be had, man. It's just last season felt like, to me, just feels like last season. What was the point of it?
A lot of people are saying that too. It's like you got your hopes set up real high, and then just to
I can understand a regression of like 3 to 5 spots in the standings. Like, I can get behind that. You know, I think that's more something that they can control. They are completely out of control, dude. Look at the standings. Comparing it to last year, like, they are absolutely on a nosedive, out of control. Who is controlling this team? Is anyone controlling this team? It's certainly not coming from the captain. Dylan Larkin hasn't scored since November 27th. The guy looks like he wants to cry after every post game. Like, get pissed, man. Get the boys fired up. Like, harden up.
Which is so funny too, that it does seem like that Larkin has lost a little bit of his. We're not seeing as much emotion out of Dylan Larkin as we've seen in the past. Remember how he punched Matthew Joseph in the face? Yeah. And then every time it was whoever else that would, he was the guy, Jamie Benn, I think it was, whoever else it is. Yeah. You know, there's plenty of people who would always target Larkin. And now, I mean, we're still seeing people probably target Larkin, but it's not really the same as it used to be years past. But we're not seeing the same toughness out of Larkin as we've seen in the past either. So you make a good call out on that too, calling out Larkin.
He's something's going on there, dude. Something's going on there. And Steve needs to figure it out. Like, these guys signed contracts and deals with you. So go and read your room and figure out what's going on, because as a fan, we are being absolutely blindsided and robbed, considering the season we had last year. To watch this product this year, again, regression, I can understand 4 to 5 spots in the standings for sure. This, and watching what we're doing, Montreal played the same goalie back to back. That's how shit we are. Yeah, so I just wanted to carve out a section and shout out this absolute sensation on social media who spends looks like a lot of time putting this together. But if you're not following, or if you haven't seen him yet, handle is Turned Down for Butts. Goes by Mr. Butts. And this guy's a blast. I think he's awesome what he's doing. Essentially what he does is he has 32 teams on a wheel. It's all randomized. And he clicks the button and it spits out a team. And his goal is to identify a core 4 on that team, take that core 4, put them back into a randomizer, and that randomizer then picks one of those players and says, trade them to this team. And he does that every day until they win a Stanley Cup with the team. He's finally made it to the Detroit Red Wings. And I'm all over this because I've been following this guy for a long time and watching him do what he's done with different teams and moving players to different teams until they win a cup. Essentially is what he's doing. And he's awesome. He's a blast, high energy, high vibes. And I did want to shout him out because I think it's great content. But I did want to cover what he ended up doing on day one as the GM of the Detroit Red Wings. He identified the core 4 as Larkin, Raymond, Seider, DeBrincat. And I think that's totally fair. I think that makes total sense. And day one was trading Seider to the New Jersey Devils.
And that was random. He didn't just select rate or Seider.
Totally random. It's all done with the wheel, the generator, all random, which is great. This is why this is awesome. So the randomizer wheel, we'll call it, told him to send Seider to New Jersey Devils. And again, the goal here is to win a Stanley Cup with the Detroit Red Wings. So here's what that trade package looked like. It was Seider, Kasper, Sandin Pellikka, Andrew Kopp, okay, and a first-round pick. Coming back to Detroit was Nico Hischier, Dougie Hamilton, Dawson Mercer, Thomas Tatar, what up, Tartar, and Nosen. I don't love the trade, but I mean, I believe he's working within NHL 25. So, I mean, he's got to make it work based off of the wheel commanding him to send Seider to the Devils. Anyways, he makes that trade. So again, Seider, Kasper, Sandin Pellikka, Andrew Kopp, and a Detroit Red Wings first-round pick for Hischier, Hamilton, Mercer, Tatar, and Nosen. This is how that team lined up. It was Raymond Larkin-Kane, Tarasenko, Hischier, DeBrincat, Rasmussen, Comfer, Mercer, Tatar, Veleno, Nosen. This roster construction finished 12th in the league with 94 points, 42 wins, 30 losses, and then they got swept by the New York Islanders in the first round of the playoffs, and they were out. So that's day one. I'm really looking forward. Today is day two, so I'm really looking forward to watching it again. Turned down for Butts, Mr. Butts, great guy, high vibes, like I said. Finally covering the Detroit Red Wings. We'll throw a couple links down so you guys can check it out. I think it's super entertaining. And I mean, now we actually have something to look forward to because within 32 days, hopefully the Detroit Red Wings win the Stanley Cup virtually at the courtesy of Mr. Butts and his wheel randomizer. And I would love to get that covered as well when they do win that and see what who goes out, who comes in to take us to the promised land. I think it's going to be very interesting to follow this for the next month or so.
Yeah, it's pretty fun, Mr. Butts, honestly. So thanks for doing that. It's going to be fun covering that on our podcast here moving forward. I just won't ever enjoy a Seider trade, no matter what it is, no matter who the return is, because I do not believe, and this isn't calling out Mr. Butts by any means, but
no, not him. It's the wheel.
Seider would not help this team ever win a Stanley Cup. Maybe years down the line when he's like old and brittle. This actually doesn't go in depth about the core four situation that we just talked about with the Mr. Butts thing. But however, I do view currently the Red Wings, the situation that they're in right now, the best outcome scenario that I view it, Carlo, is that I kind of almost see us in a New York Rangers situation. Remember how they had really bad seasons and they were able to get some decent free agency targets? Maybe if the Red Wings can get a Mikko Rantanen or Mitch Marner by some dumb sheer luck, and then they do get a top draft pick and that draft pick happens to be ready in a year or two, could that change your opinion on the Dead Wings 2.0 if that were to happen?
Sure, yeah.
Would that be the best case scenario in your opinion?
Absolutely. I don't have there's nothing that's been done since Steve Yzerman took over this team that gives me the confidence to say that, I really feel like Detroit's going to go after Rantanen. I really feel like Detroit's going to go after Marner. I don't know what Steve is doing.
But you believe that probably would be the best direction to go currently as the Red Wings sit right now that they're in.
That's the direction that he's never gone. That's the only direction left to go. You've went in every other direction, and quite frankly, you failed. Look where we are. So, I would say you better be in the conversation. You better be talking to his agent right now, these guys. Can that turn it around? Can that eliminate my thought of the Dead Wings? 100%. But that also comes with a new coach, a new system. There's layers to it. I think the roster construction needs to be rethought, and I think the coaching needs to be rethought. And when a new coach comes in, he needs to have an understanding of the systems that Blashill had and the systems that Lalonde had and say, I am doing the complete opposite of that.
I will agree with you that the things that you need to do moving forward, if it's not right now, because like I said multiple times already on this episode and later or past episodes, go check those out if you haven't. This is the direction that Steve Yzerman is moving forward. This is my own personal opinion that we're not going to see any changes for this season. other than possibly some trades at the trade deadline. I don't see him making this team any better currently during this season while we're in the season, right? And yeah, that the next thing is that you have to start doing things that you have not done, which is stop going for the mid-tier guys. You have to go out and go get those home run guys. You have to do whatever it takes. If you have to give Mikko Rantanen 13 mil, that's going to make the fans happy, and that's going to help the team a lot. A big power forward like him who can shoot left that we don't have. We don't have the left-handed shooter, and then you get a top prospect, and then you bring in a new coach that actually can bring in some offense while providing defense to this team too. Yeah, you got to start doing the things that you have not done yet. That's the only thing that you have to give to us, the fans and this team, the current players, to show that I understand. I understand it now. Like that one video where they shoot the things into the small bottle. Like I understand it now. He's gonna make it this time. I'm hoping at least, and there's hope there.
I'll tell you right now, if that happens, a big fish comes in, a top 4 D-man comes in, another good draft, a draft pick comes up that's baking right now. I'll go spend $200 on 2 beers, 2 shots, and 2 pieces of pizza. And I'll be at that game. Or I'll be at multiple games. I'll have no problem spending money on a product that gives me joy and excitement for the amount of passion and the amount of years that I've watched this team. Like, I want to go to games. I love the energy at games. I want to go. I just cannot justify spending $1 at all right now. And I'm not going to change that, and I'm not going to want to until there are things that have been done that have not been done before. I'm sorry, man. We've waited long enough to be sitting here and talking about and looking at Dead Wings 2.0 with facts to back it up is thank God it's Christmas time, man.
When do you, sorry to cut you off here, and I agree with you. Thank goodness it's Christmas time and the New Year's almost here. If we do get into the new year, obviously you can't make any trades right now because of the freeze, because of the holidays. But let's say going into 2025, let's give it at least the first week. If there are no changes, will you 100% be on board with my thought process on Yzerman saying, or his thought process could be, I'm not doing anything. This is it.
I don't think I don't think he's going to do anything. I'm already there with you. I'm already there, dude. Okay. I'm already there. I'm not expecting anything. I'm not expecting him to do anything because at this point there is no point. Something would have been done already, man. Like a coaching change would have happened already. We would have woke up today, and maybe we still will tomorrow, where there's some sort of shuffle happening within the Detroit Red Wings coaching staff. I highly doubt that's going to happen. Back to points we've made on previous pods. I just feel like if something was going to happen, it would have happened already. Steve Yzerman, Derek Lalonde, or both. Both of them need to step the F up right now because this is just ridiculous. It's unacceptable. It's embarrassing. And I just need to see someone give a shit because right now I feel like nobody cares within this organization.
I'm right there with you, Carlo. It seems like majority of the fan base is leaning towards that way too. But obviously, we want you all, viewers, watchers, listeners, however you find us on your social media platforms that you have, whether if that's on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, please leave us a comment. We want to hear from you guys. We love interacting with you guys.
Absolutely.
We're also big on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter. X, as some people call it as well, and interact with us. We're really big on there. We are on all other social media platforms as well, but we're primarily on there. But Carlo, I think this is a good spot to where we could end the podcast. But yeah, I wanted to at least leave the floor for you for your final thoughts. And yeah, we can have a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully, lots of snow too.
Oh, we're still having a Merry Christmas, baby. We're not letting this take away from that. Absolutely not. I'm just not going to watch them play anymore, and I'm going to have a great time. No, but
go ahead.
My final thoughts really are: let's go Lions. I have absolutely nothing left to say about the Detroit Red Wings.
Let's go.
It's all about the Lions right now. Super sad that Montgomery is out, but it looks like he had like 3 opinions on his knee. And I'm convinced that the third doctor was Dr. Dan Campbell and just gave him a bunch of coffee and said, you're playing. But no, I was just reading that he's eyeing a divisional round comeback in the playoffs. And I believe Hutchinson is too. So if this team can continue to do what they've been doing with these new defensive guys that they have coming in, just because of the amount of injuries that they have. Somehow they're able to play ball right away. They can continue to do that, close out the season, get into the playoffs, win game one. Dude, this team could go and be the excitement that we all want pouring out of the city of Detroit. So again, my final thoughts are one pride, let's go Lions. And I'm really pumped to watch that game today.
Well, good stuff, buddy. Yeah, let's go Red Wings. Just, if you're going to do something, call up some prospects, call up someone. I don't know. You did something with Lagesson, I guess. That was a good start. But I'd like to see a little bit more if the direction is to ride the waves, as I kept saying, and tank, just do what you got to do. Get a good draft pick. I think that would be tremendous for this organization. You have to smash on free agency and then find a coach that actually fits the persona of this team and gives this team actually maybe a persona. One pride. Let's go Lions. I'm really looking forward to that game. It's at 1:00 here, so going to be starting up pretty soon. Going to take the dogs to the park beforehand, freeze my booty off a little bit, some would say. I did get a nice little I think the kid term nowadays, or the lingo, is a shiesty, where it's like the neck thing and then like the hood. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I call that a bula. I got one of those.
Oh, okay. See, he knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, I bought one of those. The beard honestly does not help with the breeze of the wind, honestly, and I thought it would, but it just simply does not. But I'm still gonna keep growing it out.
Yeah, you gotta grow it out more, dude.
I guess so. Yeah, shoot, man. But yeah, all right. That's it on my end. Carlo, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you for joining us once again on this brand new episode of Hockey Town Rundown. We definitely appreciate it. If you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you're viewing us on YouTube, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, why don't you go ahead and hit that follow button, rate us 5 stars, hit the thumbs up on YouTube as well. And until next time, we'll see y'all on the next one. See ya.
Later, guys.